Femme Flames, Lesbian Taboo Sex Stories Box Set. Indulge your forbidden cravings, first-time lesbian trysts, taboo desires, orgasmic oral bliss, foot fetish fantasies, BDSM dominatrix thrills, curious women's firsts, erotic toy play, and so much more. Written by Lolita Gray, narrated by Anastasia James, Sexy Romance Studio, Orgasmic Pleasure Studio, and Femdom Rough Studio.
My muscles begged for a hot bath and a glass of wine. The drive home was a bit of a blur after my last session. Somehow, trying to convince a 400-pound man that he needed to stretch his muscles to get his endurance back was like trying to convince a child that eating healthy would give them a better life in adulthood. Eventually, you just go through the motions and let them make their own decisions. I was a physical therapist, not a mental one. The moment I walked through the door, Jonah greeted me with that glass of wine. I dropped my stuff next to the wall and welcomed him with both arms and my full attention. "I thought you were a police officer, not a mind reader," I asked with a grin. "I was a police officer," he frowned. "Now I'm just a bona fide secretary." I snaked my arms around his neck and kissed his lips. "You're so much more than that, and you know it. Just because you're behind a desk and not on the street doesn't make you any less of a cop, and a good one at that." He cocked his head and shrugged, not completely convinced. I hated his insecurities since his accident, but I could only be there for him for moral support. I had apparently gone into the wrong field of therapy. The smell of fresh basil and tomatoes told me Jonah had already started dinner before I arrived home, but I insisted on taking over so he could get off his feet. It made me look gallant, but I had selfish tendencies. He had made himself comfortable in the overstuffed recliner with a beer in one hand and his phone in the other. I came up behind him and slid my hands down his chest, my lips nibbling on his ear. "Everything's ready, baby," I whispered. "Maybe after dinner we could take a bath together?" He set his phone down and caressed my arm, kissing my hand before struggling to get up. He grabbed his cane and wobbled to the table, sitting across from me before leaning it against the chair next to him. Although it had been almost a year, I could still see the frustration in his face that he couldn't just pounce out of that chair, pick me up and throw me over his shoulder and carry me, giggling and squirming, to the dining room like he used to. I tried to strike up conversation a few times over dinner, eventually giving up.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?